How's it going? I'm Phil Murphy from your ESPN Esports studios, and these are your official up-to-the-minute Overwatch League Power Rankings heading into Week 4 of Stage 3, where the top 3 teams are from the East Coast, proving once and for all, East Coast over West Coast. It's science. Our Emily Rand joins us now from the West Coast to try and convince you and I otherwise and talk some power rankings. Emily, at number 5, Los Angeles Valiant taking Houston's spot at number 5. They're number 2 in the official stage rankings for Overwatch League. They have a league best plus 13 map differential. When playoff time comes around, what are the odds we see the Valiant still going?
So a lot of people did not believe in the Valiant, and the reason why they didn't kind of crack that top 5 last week was because we were looking at their strength of schedule. But this past week, the Valiant proved that, this roster really is clicking. They're improving by the week. And there is a pretty strong chance to see them in the playoffs if they continue to improve week to week like we've been seeing.
A team that's been in that playoff conversation in every stage so far, London Spitfire. They hold firm at number 4. And one of the world's best tracers has been supplanted by Hureg. Emily, what does Hureg bring to the table that at this point Birdring is lacking?
So we'll never know what is ever going on a team internally, but for right now, Hureg is just performing really, really well, and he's kind of helped them stabilize a bit, where we saw them have kind of a shakier start. There seemed to be some communication miscues, and they're making a lot more mistakes than we typically see from them. So Hureg has just performed really consistently.
Emily, we have a team that's moved up, a team that's held steady. Now for a team that's going the wrong way in the power rankings. At number 3, Philadelphia Fusion down 1 spot after 2 reverse sweeps. Let me get London back at 4. Fusion up to 3. Philadelphia Fusion, the wrong end of 2 reverse sweeps this week at the hand of New York Excelsior and San Francisco Shock. Why aren't we dropping them more after an 0-2 week?
So Philly are still a really strong team. They're still up there in the top team conversation. The match against New York, we kind of expected them to lose, if only because New York is the best team right now still. The big thing for Philly was the fact that they did play those back-to-back matches, and we have seen teams struggle with that. And so that is not to take away anything from the Shock, because they earned that victory. They stepped up and they performed really well. I do think that part of it was that kind of back-to-back lack of preparation. So going forward, to keep Philly up here, we're going to need to see how they bounce back.
The team taking their spot at number 2, the Boston Uprising, living up to their name, rising up. All the way up to number 2, they're on a 10-game win streak, and you expect them to keep that going with the likes of Dallas and Shanghai on this schedule. All due respect. Emily, what would it take at this point for Boston not to be the number 1 seed come playoff time?
I think the thing with Boston is just that they have improved ever since about mid-stage 2, I'd say. And their biggest thing has always been teamwork and communication, which is also what allowed their new DPS player Mistakes to kind of just fit in, and despite having a slightly different hero pool, he's performed well with the team. And so I think you're really looking at some sort of random communication breakdown. It's going to be really hard to unseat Boston from the top of the table.
Well, you talk about Boston's consistency, a team that's embodied that through much of the first 2 stages. NYXL, they hang on to the number 1 spot here, but only by a thread. They had to reverse sweep not once, but twice to have a 2-0 week. We saw some lineup flexibility with them. What does that lineup flexibility tell you about their potential to get to another grand final?
They have such depth on this roster that it's actually kind of insane. And obviously, they have been kind of flipping back and forth, trying to maybe give some people some stage time that might not otherwise have it. But this is still a team that across the board, they're just so strong in everything. And when you're looking at what makes a team truly great is kind of consistency, and they make the least amount of mistakes. So when it does come down to those really close best of 5 reverse sweeps, you can almost count on New York at this point to somehow perform and capitalize and punish their opponent's mistakes.
Great stuff as always, Emily. For more esports coverage and the complete Overwatch League Power Rankings, keep it locked right here on ESPN.com/esports.